This may be the most extraordinary development yet in this whole Trump-Russia saga, because Donald Trump and his associates have been denying that there was any coordination, any collusion with the Russian government, that they were even aware of any attempts by the Russian government to help the Trump campaign. But here in black and white, and I just want to read this to you from Rob Goldstone, who set up this meeting to Donald Trump Jr. on June 3rd, 2016. The Crown Prosecutor of Russia met with his father, Aras, that's Aras Agalarov, an oligarch in Russia, this morning, and in their meeting offered to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would dealings with Russia and would be very useful to your father. This is obviously very high-level and sensitive information, but is part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump, helped by Aras and
Not at all. There is nothing in there pushing back on the notion that there may have been some collusion or potential collusion between Trump campaign associates in Russia. No pushback there. You're just not getting it anywhere the way that we have in almost every other development mentioned in these emails. And to your point earlier, Anderson, I think it's almost immaterial about what she says about her connections. Right. The issue here is the fact that Donald Trump accepted that meeting and walked into that meeting and got his brother-in-law and the campaign chairman into that meeting because he believed this was somebody who was involved in the Russian government's efforts to help his dad's president to back his son.
Yeah, a lot more ahead.
Yes, and he's facing off against a very worthy adversary. Putin is very good at reading people. He's been at this game of politics and international games longer than the president has. It's not surprising that Trump has chosen to focus on Ukraine and Syria instead of the Russian hacking allegations, the meddling in the 2016 elections. He's shown, or at least his team has shown, a willingness to at least take as tough a stance as the Obama administration did when it comes to Nikki Haley at the UN talking about why the sanctions against Ukraine are a good idea in Syria that are against the Assad regime, which Russia sponsors. That's all fine. Where the president has never been willing to go fully, though, is to actually take Russia on the lateral problem we've had with them, which is we think you meddled in our elections, potentially for the purpose of helping Donald Trump win the White House. He's never been willing to touch that. Doesn't sound like he's going to be going there this week when he talks to Putin face-to-face. That would be the most bold move that he could take, and it doesn't sound like they're willing to go there. And a question of what to do with these two compounds that the Russians were using that they were kicked out of at the end of the last administration, it doesn't sound like that's off the table, the option of returning it to them, and that has a lot of people in Congress very, very worried, but right now they have no check to make these sorts of deals or talk about pulling back sanctions with Russia, because this bill that they're working on isn't on the table. So there's a lot President decides to do coming out of this meeting, and whether he can maintain control of it or Putin kind of takes the reins and influences things in a direction that's advantageous to Russia.